All the way up. Finish it. Lock out.
Welcome back. Joining us now, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. And Matt, a whole bunch of experts out there say the Green Bay Packers need help at wide receiver. What does Matt LaFleur say about that?
Well, I've got a lot of confidence in the guys that we have. Certainly, I think, anytime you can add a playmaker, you look at the teams that were in the Super Bowl and kind of the speed that they had and the playmakers they had, whether that's at wide receiver, whether that's at tight end, running back. Anytime you have a guy that you can throw a little shallow cross to and he can take it 60 yards for a touchdown, those are the types of guys that we're looking for.
Year two in your offense, are we looking at a situation where it's more offense or just doing what you did, just doing it better because it is year two and there's a certain familiarity with it?
Yeah, I think it's kind of redefining and making sure our guys are on the details, because I think that's what's going to allow us to take that next step. But certainly there's going to be other teams that we're going to study and see what teams, some of these trends are around the league, and see what teams are having success with versus whatever defenses they're playing that we may implement into our offense as well.
The other day, Brian Gutekunst mentioned to the press in an informal gathering that, a quarterback could be in play high in the draft. How does his head coach feel about that?
You can never have enough great quarterbacks, and they are tough to find. So if there is a guy sitting there at whatever position you're sitting at, I think if you feel good about him, then you take a chance on it. You can never have enough of those guys.
Here at the Combine, what do you focus on? Obviously, you can't focus on all 337 some odd players, but what will you focus on mostly?
I think the majority of the focus is on the interviews that we have with these players and try to just get a glimpse, get a feel for them. And it's tough to do in an 18-minute window, but just kind of get a feel for them as not only as players but as people and what they could bring to your organization.
When you go through those interviews, Matt, what's the biggest thing, the biggest attribute for a prospect to have for you going forward to where you feel positive about them?
I just think it's how they relate to everybody in that room and how they handle themselves. Certainly this is a big-time job, and for them it is their first opportunity to really interview in person for I know for a lot of our coaches, and just get a feel for how they could come into our locker room and add value.
Had a terrific season on a whole bunch of different levels. Didn't end well. How much does the one loss in the NFC Championship game, how much does that one loss factor into your feelings about your football team?
Well, I think it just being that close and coming up short just kind of fuels the fire and that drive and that passion to look for ways to improve, and certainly got a lot of confidence in the guys that we have in our organization, not only from the top with Mark Murphy and Goody and his crew, but also with all our players. And I'm excited to get those guys back in the building April 20th.
Saw more of Jace Sternberger towards the end of last season. Might we see even more of him this year?
Yeah, I think so. It didn't start off pretty for Jace, just being on IR. He had an unfortunate injury and battled through that and came back. And here's what I love about Jace Sternberger. I know the game's not too big for him. He loves to compete, and he's so versatile, whether it's in line, whether it's moving him into an H-back or / fullback type position. The guy has contact courage. He's not afraid to put his face on people. He's a much better blocker, I think, than anybody ever thought he was, coming out of Texas A&M. And I'm just excited for his future.
A real challenge, I would think, Matt, is how do you bottle up what you had in the locker room as you move forward into year two? Because it was terrific.
Yeah, to your point, you know, that's one of the better locker rooms I've ever been a part of, been around, and that's a credit to the people that we have in our organization, the people that we have in that locker room. And I think that's always the magic question. How do you bottle up that momentum and spring it forward into the 2020 season? That's something that, you know, that's something that we're going to strive to work on throughout this entire offseason.
Matt, last year you come to the Combine as a first-year head coach with a lot of hopes, dreams, and aspirations. This year you come back after going 13-3 and making the NFL's Final Four. That's got to be really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I know the expectations are going to be sky high next year, but you know, we're going to attack it the same way, and that's one day at a time, trying to do our very best. And it's something that we always talk to the players about. You either get better or you get worse every day. You never stay the same, and that's going to be our mindset moving forward. Again, a new year, a new set of challenges, so many variables that you can't even account for, and we'll just have that mentality of attacking it one day at a time.
Matt, thank you, and have a good week.
Thanks, Larry.
Guys, the Packers looking to get better. Mike, how do they do it?
Offensive efficiency, Larry. Find another level with Aaron Rodgers in year 2 of this offense. I think it helps out the defense as well.
Wes, what do you think?
Larry, I'm going to say run defense. Fill the gaps, cut down on the explosive plays.
Guys, inside linebacker, hybrid, getting that whole thing figured out. I think that would help the defense. And gentlemen, thank you, and thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.